So in the first Eastern Conference playing game, we saw one of the best game I have ever seen in the playoffs in MLS. Well, in the second Eastern Conference playing game, I saw one of the more one-sided playoff game I've ever seen in the playoffs. As in the end, Nashville with an easy 3-0 victory over Inter Miami. And I guess a lot of the reason why this game turns out to be very one-sided has to do with the fact that Inter Miami was very short-handed in this game. Yesterday, it was announced that they had 5 players that was tested positive for COVID-19, and that today they announced that of those 5 players that got tested positive for COVID-19, 4 of them were 3 of them were starters, with both Higuain brother and LGP not available in this game because they were tested positive for COVID-19. And I just thought this was going to be almost an impossible task now for Inter Miami to try to come into Nashville and get a victory. And I guess throughout this game, knowing the fact that Diego Alonso saw his team was very short-handed, he was trying to use the tactics where they just play a nil resort and hope to get this into a penalty shootout and take their chances in that penalty kick shootout. And you kind of saw that happening in the first 10 minutes where, even though there was not much that was happening, Nashville had all the possession in the game. And I think early on there was like 80% possession compared to just 20% possession that Inter Miami had throughout the first 10 minutes. But Nashville was not having a lot of success in terms of breaking down that Miami low block, and I thought this was probably going to be a good tactics to try to get themselves to play a 0-0 draw throughout the whole 120 minutes. But unfortunately, in the 14th minute, that's when this tactics pretty much did not work out, because in the 14th minute, Nashville finally break Inter Miami resistance, and it was an absolute wonder goal this was from Randall Leal that was scored from Alex Mill, definitely in contention alongside with Gustavo Bol, winner in that game against Montreal as 2 of the goals that you could say contending for goal of the week. But yeah, I mean, you could argue maybe in this instant, maybe Miami could have done a little bit better job in terms of closing down and not allow Randall Leal like literally 10 yards of space to try to shoot that one, but just take nothing away from how difficult it is to shoot from distance and able to put enough power and precision in terms of putting it into the back of the net. So yeah, Nashville was up 1-0 up until that point, which basically means that Miami just cannot just sit deep and basically play for a 0-0 draw. And that just 3 minutes later, there was a penalty kick shout that was for Nashville, but unfortunately it wasn't given after it looked like Alves Pau shoved Mukhtar onto the ground. And I thought that was going to be a very soft penalty if it was going to be called. But then just 3 minutes later, there was a penalty that was called against Inter Miami and was in favor of Nashville, when McCarthy basically broke down Mukhtar in the box to give Nashville a penalty. Now, on first glance, I thought this was a dive from Hani Mukhtar. I mean, it didn't look like McCarthy made any contact in terms of Mukhtar, and Mukhtar was trying his best to kind of sell that one to give a penalty. But on a closer inspection, I think there was slight contact between McCarthy and Mukhtar, and especially it looks like McCarthy's body kind of clipped Mukhtar's right knee there. And even though I know it wasn't a lot of contact, when you are a goalkeeper and you make contact with the defender and you don't get the ball, yeah, most of the time that is going to be called a penalty, which of course it was given, and that they didn't even go to VAR to check it, and Mukhtar was the one to bury the penalty in the 24th minute, and Nashville was up 2-0 at that point. And at that point I just feel like, yeah, Miami looked like they were down and out. Like, they looked like they were just kind of going through the motion, while the possession was 72-28 during that point. And that unless if Nashville just kind of completely collapsed heading into halftime or even into the second half, I doubt the fact that Nashville is going to try to blow a 2-0 lead in this game. But that being said, in the second half, Inter Miami did try to get back into this game and did try to at least attempt to try to come back from a 2-0 deficit. Pellegrini probably could have gave Miami the a goal back during this point when he probably should have scored from close range, and that he was basically wide open in the 12-yard box, but unfortunately he blazed that one high. And I thought that up until that point, that was really the first big chance that Miami has, because for the majority of the first half they just had no possession in at all, and just kind of having a hard time to try to get past this Nashville team that was for the most part in the first half kind of pressing Miami and kind of forcing them to just getting pinned deep into their own half. Now, that being said, as I said in the second half, Miami, of course, they started to do a little bit better in terms of holding on to possession, but I guess a lot of that has to do with the fact that Nashville feel like, since they're up 2-0 in this game, they might as well just kind of sit back and try to hold on to this 2-0 result. And that, just as Miami started to look like they were getting things going and maybe potentially get one back into this game, Nashville made it 3-0. And this time it was Dax McCarty's turn to score an absolute banger from about 24 yards out. But this one, this was just some really bad defending from Inter Miami. And the fact that McCarty was allowed to literally run down Broadway off the Miami midfielder completely uncontested before he basically takes it near the top of the box is just absolute schoolboy kind of defending from Miami, and kind of just sums up how poor their defensive displays was in this game against Nashville. Willis then denied Pellegrini in the far post in the 65th minute, which I thought, despite the fact that how bad Miami has been playing in this game, at least they haven't gave up and looked to try to get a consolation. But then just 6 minutes later, you're basically reminded of how bad Miami play in this game, because McCarthy basically had a back pass toward him, and usually when a goalkeeper gets a back pass, he just boots it upfield, but instead he just did a swing and a miss as he was trying to boot that one upfield. And I thought that pretty much just sums up Miami game tonight, and that the only fortunate thing for McCarthy there and kind of save him from being just a laughing stock and kind of being meme quality on Monday on the MLS Reddit page is the fact that did not result in a goal, and it actually just went out for a corner for Nashville. But yeah, for the last 19 minutes, things were just kind of a little bit even, and that it was kind of garbage time between both of these teams, knowing the fact that the game was pretty much done and dusted. And yeah, in the end, it finished 3-0 in favor of Nashville. And the shots in this game, 7 shots compared to 9 that Miami has, 4 shots on goal compared to 3 that Miami has, 2 shots off target compared to 5 that Miami has, 1 shot that was blocked compared to 1 that Miami has, and possession-wise, 46% possession compared to 54% possession that Inter Miami had in this game. And like I said, this Nashville team, this is definitely a team that you do not want to play right now in the playoffs, and especially after, I know this was a game that, knowing the circumstances that went on in this game, this was always going to be a game that Nashville was going to win. But the fact that they were able to win convincingly and now have all the confidence heading into that game against Toronto on Tuesday, this could really be a team that can make some noise. And hence this also kind of makes me a little bit confident in the fact that when I did make that prediction back on Wednesday by picking Nashville to be able to beat Toronto as part of the video where I filled out the bracket, I'm kind of feeling confident that I'm going to get that prediction right, with the way that Nashville is going to definitely have all the momentum in the world heading to Hartford on Tuesday to play against TFC. Whereas for Miami, unfortunately their season kind of comes to an end, and I knew that this was always going to be a team that is the weakest team heading into the playoffs, and judging by the fact that they pretty much had been devastated by COVID for the past couple of days, you knew this was going to be a game that it was always going to be impossible for them to potentially get a win. But that being said, let me know in the comments below what do you think of this game, and if you guys enjoy this video, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and I of course will see you guys next time.